Hey everyone, welcome to the beginner breakdown video for Luong in King of Fighters 14. In this video I'm going to show you the basics on how to play this character, that way you can get right into the game, start beating up your friends. This video series is intended more for beginners and players who are just trying to learn the character, learn the basics of it. And with that, let's get started. As always, let's go over far normals first. Light punch, light kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. Far light punch is a mid. It goes pretty far, so even though I said it's a mid, it kind of really isn't, because it does whiff a lot on crouchers. I think pretty much every crouch in the game. I tested it on Chang and it whiffs on him. So it'll just go over pretty much everybody who's crouching. You can super and special cancel it though, which does have that going for it, and it's only a little bit negative. And then same deal with light kick. It has really good range, but it does whiff on, as far as I'm concerned, all crouchers in the game. And it's a little bit negative on block. And far heavy punch does not have that issue, so it is a real mid. I don't think it whiffs on anybody, even though it looks like it probably should. It does have a vertical component to the, or vertical hitbox to the stretched out hand. It's slightly negative on block, and if they do block it, it does push back quite a bit, so you can use that to poke if you wanted to. It just had a little bit of startup on it, as you see, so you could get hit out of it if the opponent's hitting some quick buttons. And far heavy kick is another button that it's like the first ones I went over, where it would be a mid if it didn't whiff on pretty much all the crouchers in the game. I'm pretty sure. And it's pretty negative on block, so if you do get the opponent to block that standing, you are pretty negative. What you can use it for is as an anti-air, actually. So you can hit it from pretty far away, as you saw right there, and it'll land. And the trade is in your favor most of the time, I believe. You can hit it really far away like that, and you can even hit it up from a little bit closer, but not too close. Kind of like that. Let's go over close normals next. Light punch, light kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. So close light punch is a mid. It's only slightly negative, and you can special cancel it to whatever you need. Close light kick is a low, so that can only be blocked at crouching. It's a little bit negative on block, and you can special cancel it. And then close heavy punch, it's a mid, so we block both crouching or standing. It is a bit negative on block, and it's 2 hits, as you see. And you can special or super cancel either hit. You can do it on the first hit, wait until the second, whatever you want. However, the second hit does push you back further. So, for example, that'll combo. But if I wait until the second hit to do that, whiffs, because I'm pushed back further on the second hit. And it's more noticeable when the opponent is guarding. So for example, close heavy kick into one of our command normals, I think that's a block string. There might be a gap there, but regardless, it connected, right? If I wait to the second hit, that whiffs. If I do it on the first hit, it connects. So you got to keep that in mind when you're using your close normals, or at least close heavy punch. Then close heavy kick is a mid. You can block both crouching or standing. It is negative on block, but you can super and special cancel it. Let's go over crouching normals next. Here's light punch, light kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. So crouching light punch is a mid. You can block both crouching or standing, so it's not a real low. It's slightly negative on block, and you can super and special cancel it. And you can also chain them in the row, so that's pretty useful. And crouching light kick is a real low. It has pretty good range on it. You can special and super cancel it into whatever. And you can chain a couple in a row as well. Pretty good for that. Then crouching heavy punch is a mid. You can be blocked both crouching or standing. It's negative on block, and you can super and special cancel it. Here's crouching heavy kick. That's her sweep. It goes really far, as you see. It can only be blocked crouching, and you can super and special cancel it, which makes it useful because it's pretty negative on block. So you definitely want to cancel it to keep it safe. Canceling into like those snake kicks is something that's pretty annoying to do. So if the opponent is blocking low, that turns into a block string. And it pushes you back really far away. Over jumping normals next. Light punch, light kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. They're all standard jump-ins. You can use them for whatever you want as long as you time it right. With the exception of heavy punch. So heavy punch will whiff on crouchers. Pretty much, you don't have to worry about that with any of the other buttons. But yeah, heavy punch, be careful with that. You can use it as an anti-air, or rather an air to air. If you want an all around jump in, just jump in button or a short hop button, heavy kick's not a bad one to go for. It'll connect on crouchers, and you can short hop with it and it won't whiff. If you want to cross up, light punch or light kick are your go-tos. Those are the easiest ones to cross up with. And then her jumping blowback attack, which you can do by hitting heavy punch and heavy kick while you're in the air. This right here is really good, pretty active. It's plus on block like a lot of these attacks are. And you don't have to worry about it whiffing on crouchers either, so it's good for that. You can short hop with it, you can jump in with it. And it's not a bad air to air either. Next, let's cover command normals. She has one, it's forward and light kick. This is an overhead, so the opponent is crouch guarding, it'll hit them. So you can use that to open up opponents who are crouch guarding a lot. There isn't much you can get off of it raw. You can get super, but that's a pretty big commitment. If you wanted to, you can also use that as a max mode button. Kind of, go into something like that. You can also use it in combos. So if you did something like, let's see, like that, it has like the hit stun of a heavy button, so you can special cancel it only in combos. Otherwise, you can't really do anything off of it other than raw super and max mode cancel. And because of the startup, you can only really combo into it from anything with a lot of hit stun on it. It also has quite a bit of range, so if you hit it at the tip, it's pretty safe, it's hard to punish. It pushes back quite a distance, as you see right there. And on top of it being only a little bit negative on block. Next is Luong's blowback attack, which you can execute by hitting heavy punch and heavy kick while you're on the ground. This right here, pretty good in terms of range. She goes forward and her leg goes out really far, so you can throw that out and you can hit somebody who's moving forward or trying to run into you. It is pretty negative on block, so you do want to try to cancel it to try to make it safer, maybe into like a snake kick like that. You will be using this, I think, a little bit more frequently. It's part of combos actually. You can get it off of some of her special attacks, and I'll go over that later. Let's quickly go over throws. Here's her forward throw. It's a hard knockdown. And here's a back throw, which is also hard knockdown. Whichever way you throw them, you have time to run in and maybe go in for a low overhead, whatever, apply some pressure, or you have enough time to kind of back away and then start being annoying again. Next up is special moves. She has a cortical forward plus any of her buttons besides heavy kick, so I'll go over them one at a time. First one is cortical forward and light punch, this right here. So it's a kick upwards. You can use this as an anti-air if you time it right. So as you see right there, you can anti-air somebody out of the air if you got a good read, and you can also hit them with another snake leg, I don't know, snake strike as they're coming down. You can also catch them out of the air with a super like that if you got, you got the read and the reactions, and a little bit of minor execution to get that. In particular, it can be useful if you got the opponent in the corner, if you're kind of harassing them with some of these, some of these sweeps into the snake kick, and then maybe they get antsy and they're being a little bit dumb and they try to jump in on you and you got the read. You could throw that out when they're in the corner and then knock them back into the corner like that. It'd be pretty annoying to deal with. The next one is cortical forward and then light kick. This one just goes straight. You can think of this one as kind of like using a projectile, since you kind of zone somebody out with it a little bit and it does minimal damage. One thing you want to know is that it can whiff on crouchers, so the hitbox on it seems to taper off towards the end. So from a distance, like, this will whiff over her head, but if she's standing, it'll hit her. But if I'm just a little bit closer, it'll hit her if she's crouching. So you want to keep that in mind if you're throwing these out to poke. Some characters that can kind of low profile things, say like Kula, she has like her down forward, what was it, C? Or down forward B or something like that. She can, kind of slide on the ground. It can go like under these, for example, and hit you. So all those are kind of just like annoying poke that you can combo into. From really any of her buttons, even her light buttons, you just have to be kind of quick enough. And then the heavy punch version of it is a low. It looks like this. It has a pretty limited range, but they do have to block that crouching. So you can kind of use that to sort of poke at somebody. Maybe they're walking forward, they might walk into it. And you can combo into it as well, as long as you're within range after a button press. And all of these attacks can be held as long as you hold the attack button. So for example, it'll just look like this, and then as soon as you let go of the button, she'll do the attack. You can kind of use this to maybe psych opponents out a little bit, in particular if they're really bad at dealing with like this pseudo zoning that you can do and kind of poking them from a distance, doing stuff like this, and they're kind of blocking a lot, and they're kind of hesitant to move forward. You could kind of just do this and then wait for them to walk forward and then kind of throw it out really quick to annoy them. Probably not going to be too useful on like high level players or like intermediate players. Something to consider if you're like bullying your friends. If you're holding any of the attacks down, if you hit heavy kick during that, she'll cancel it. And you can do it kind of quick. Kind of like that. And every single one of these attacks I've just showed you can be special canceled pretty easily. Into whatever super, Climax super, whatever you need. And then the EX one does the most damage, and you can only execute it by hitting light punch and heavy punch, so both punches. It's 3 hits, or it's 4 hits rather, and you get the whole canned animation. It can grab out of the air, so in particular it can be useful after some of her special moves. So for example, like if you land one of these, you know, you'll get the full canned animation if you land one of those, because it pulls them out of the air, and then you get the whole thing. But you don't get anything afterwards because it's like a hard knockdown. Next special move, she has this corsical back and then kick while in the air. This right here, so that's the light kick version of it. The light kick version of it, she keeps her trajectory, whichever way she was going, and then the heavy kick one changes her trajectory a little bit. She kind of goes up a bit before, she kind of delays her landing a little bit. And the EX version of it is pretty quick, and I believe she keeps her trajectory. Looks like it. Looks like it might float her a little bit, actually, now I look at it closely. It's a little bit hard for me to tell. They're all kind of sort of like jumping attacks, even though you are in the air while you're doing it. The opponent can block them crouching. Except for the EX one. The EX one, they will have to block that crouching, or standing rather. So you can use these in some of our advanced combos, which I'm really not going to show you. You can look at a combo video for that. But you can use them as like a cross-up tool because they have like a really big horizontal hitbox on it. You can pretty easily cross up on an opponent with that. And if you land it on the opponent pretty low to the ground, you can get follow-ups afterwards, even if you cross up. So I'll just keep it simple. Kind of like that blowback attack, for example. That's something you can land. You can even land super. Kind of like that. You don't get the whole, you know, canned animation. So you can experiment around and see what you can get, but those are like the two really common things that you can get pretty easily at low level. Just blowback or, you know, super. And if you are crossing up with it, you have to remember that you're gonna have to input the super the opposite direction because you're switching sides. And the EX one does the most damage, and it kind of pops them up the highest. And the safest version of this move to use is a light kick version of it because she keeps her jump trajectory. So if you land it really close to the ground, you are plus. And the heavy kick version of it is, I think, pretty much negative in most circumstances. It might be a little bit less negative closer to the ground, but it doesn't really matter. I'm pretty sure it's still negative. And then same thing with the EX version. Next special move she has is half circle back plus kick. Here's the light kick version of it. Pretty quick startup. It goes about that far. And then the heavy kick version of it goes a little bit further, but it has more startup. And the EX version of it goes pretty far, and it's the quickest one, I believe. So each one does more damage than the last. So the light kick one does the least amount of damage, heavy kick does the second, EX does the most. The strength of the button you use determines how high they get popped up. So as you see, the EX one pops them up really high. They're not really good anti-airs, so probably don't use them as anti-airs, even though it looks like you might be able to. It'll lose to like really good button presses. See? That was the heavy kick version of it. You have to be like really early if you want to land one of those as an anti-air. Regardless, they're more like combo enders that can lead into more damage. You can combo into her light kick one from really anything, even her light attack, even her light buttons. The timing is just a lot stricter. Like that right there. That was crouching light kick, crouching light kick, crouching light punch, and then I canceled into the light kick version of this attack. It's much easier to combo into it from, you know, things with high hit stun like her heavy button, because what'll often happen if you're not skilled enough, like I am most of the time, it'll look like that and it won't combo. And if you want to combo into the heavy kick one, you can only really combo into it from anything with a lot of hit stun because of the considerable startup. And then the EX one is the quickest one, so you can combo into it pretty easily from really any of her buttons. So as I've said, they are basically combo starters that you can get more damage off of. So say you land this, you can land a blowback attack, for example, and blow them really far away and start kind of setting up some of these again. You can also land like a snake kick afterwards, like that, and send them reeling back. You can land a raw super afterwards. So those are like some of the most common easy options you can do. If you land the heavy kick version of it, you can land a light kick version of it afterwards. and then, you know, land stuff afterwards. That super doesn't work. But stuff like that, for example, or you can even land like a blowback attack as they're falling down. The EX version gives you the most stuff afterwards because it pops them up so high. So you can keep it simple, or you know, make it more complex. And one way you can make it a little bit more complex is if you land the EX one mid-screen, you can land another one of those attacks afterwards. Like that, and, you know, end it however you want. Let's go over supers next. She has critical forward twice, and then kick. It will look like that. And then here is the EX version. Next super she has is critical forward, has her go back, plus kick. Rush super, I'll just call it, it goes about that far. It was about like right here, as you saw. In the EX version of it, as you see, it goes full screen. And then her Climax super has half circle back twice, and then both punches. Can't wait to see that after the visual update. If you wanted to cancel a super into another super, the best way to do is going from her critical forward twice plus kick into the rush super. That way you get the most damage. It'll look something like this. The window for canceling it is pretty lenient, I've noticed, but just try to cancel as soon as it hits, basically. You can do it the other way, you just miss out on a lot of damage since you have to cancel early. I don't believe you can cancel later, much later than that. And then the same thing applies when you're canceling into her Climax super. Do it from the double critical forward one. Let me give you some combos to get you started with this character. So of course some easy ones like close heavy punch into the snake kick and then the snake kick. You can super cancel that pretty easily. Of course you can opt to use heavy kick, close heavy kick instead of close heavy punch. If you want to complicate it a little bit more, you can use either of those two buttons and go into her command normal and then you know, special cancel that. If you can confirm into it, you can opt to do the has her go back instead plus kick. Go into like the light kick version of it, for example, and then you know, do something like that, but don't super cancel. That was just habit. And from crouching, the easy stuff you can do is go into like your snake kick, kind of like that, but you want to do it quicker, that way it combos. If you do it too slow, it won't combo. It's something that you might spend some time learning and practicing, is something like this. But you know, the version where it combos, not that bootleg version, because of course you can get more damage off of these. And be sure to check out the special moves section and the super section, that way you know how to use these special moves and how you can possibly convert them into more damage. Alright everybody, thanks for watching the beginner breakdown video for Luong, Quick Time to Chill. If you found this episode useful, or any of the other episodes useful, feel free to hit that subscribe button. See more subs, it's definitely nice, though not required. I'll keep putting these out at my own pace, which is kind of slowed down to like maybe one a week. This one came out 2 weeks later, just because, you know, holiday stuff, life in general. That and also BlazBlue came out, and that's been pretty fun. I've been checking that out. As always, let's go to member select. So we'll see where I'll go from here. I'll think about it a little bit, and hopefully I can get the next video out in less than a week. But no promises. So thank you for watching the Luong Beginner Breakdown video, and I'll see you next one.